Hello, welcome. What's up, players? Welcome to episode 155 of Ready Press Play, where we were your bi-weekly source for everything that was new and exciting in the world of video games. But today, we reconvene because of all the crazy Nintendo Switch 2 news. Joining me today, as always, is my very esteemed co-host, Mr. Daniel Lima.
I am very excited for the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm very excited to talk about it. I am not excited to have to pay for it.
Nintendo was like, you won't charge you this time. We like what is it called? They basically did the thing where they gave you the product initially for like cheap and stuff like that, and now they're just raising the price. That's what it is. Yeah. I decided to title this episode "The Switch Up" because I think it's kind of very apt because the
I like
Nintendo
that.
the Nintendo Direct was very like everyone loved it and everyone was gushing and we were like sitting in that bloom for like a couple of hours, but then the internet just started like like switching up their reactions when all the bad news came out because
Hmm.
people even noticed, like I saw like some content creators like doing their live reactions and stuff like that, and they were like, but where's the price at the end of, they're like, all right, peace out guys, they're like, where's the
Hmm.
price? And that's why they basically left it up to like the Twitter posts and stuff like that and stuff to like have all the bad news come later. So yeah, we're gonna be
Hmm.
talking about a lot about the Switch too and everything that was that came out during this past week. We got plenty of time to do all that, but first we got to get some housekeeping out the way. We have a lot of different things to talk about here about what's going on with us. Obviously, because we only do like these things only every so often, get to catch up and see how things were, how we've been living our lives and stuff like that. But the very first big thing that we need to hit on is you should be like following the Ready Press Play Twitch channel because we are in fact playing Split Fiction right now. We did return to Twitch just like days before recording this episode, and we came back with 7 people watching us and like old fans coming in and like Ghost Baby and everything like that. It was awesome. It was like almost like a welcome back kind of thing to Twitch.
Yeah, that was definitely a good time, and I think the game is it's one of those things where I feel like we created this tradition over time. Like when we first started doing this podcast in 2020, I brought up that Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons was one of my favorite games, and Joseph Ferris, who was the director of it, had put out just one other game at that point, which was A Way Out, and I think neither of us had really played through it yet. Maybe we'd played a little bit, but
Yeah.
and then we decided to do the Twitch streams playing together, and then Lewis also went and played Brothers on his own, and we did a spoiler cast on that, and then It Takes Two comes out, and then we played that, and so it just kind of made sense for us that with the new Haze Light game coming out, with Split Fiction coming out, that had to get us moving and get us out of our hiatus and our hermit, new hermit lifestyles to go and play it together again, and then um, we actually started it not on Twitch, but then from the second session of us playing together, we decided to Twitch stream him as well. So yeah, go and check that out. I actually don't know if we have a decided date time to like consistently do it yet, because at first we had agreed on a time, but then we changed it. But now I'm
Yeah.
not sure if we're 100% on that, so we still gotta coordinate.
Yeah, just follow the Twitch and you'll get the email notifications once you go live. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would say the weekends is probably going to be what we're looking at because my schedule changed. It's on a temporary,
Hmm.
like, 2 month change right now. And so, yeah, doing our Tuesdays is what we were originally planning on doing, was like every Tuesday night is like almost a little bit out of the question. We will still be doing it. We will complete the damn game. You can rest assured that it will be done before August or September or something like that. But we did in fact play the first time together, actually as a couch co-op, because I actually went to go visit Dan, and Dan so generously like was a real one, and like actually came and drove and picked me up. He drove 4 hours to come pick me up because I was not in town for him, but I was in the East Coast in like his time zone, and so he actually went and picked me up and we hung out for a whole weekend. And that was one of the things that we did, is we sat together and like couch co-op played Split Fiction. And you know I I kind of wanted to stream it too, but like really, in actuality, we're just lazy fucks. We're like, we don't want to set this shit up, so we just played it. That's what we did.
Yeah, there was no like so it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this the other day that when it comes to partnerships,
Mm-hmm.
and this could either be a friendship, a relationship, or even like a business partnership, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's common for people to kind of like delegate tasks, and a
Yeah.
lot of times when people delegate tasks, whoever is not like doing a task doesn't know how to do it, and the person who is doing it all the time knows how to do it. I'm saying this, Liz, because I think it's interesting that like when it comes to streaming, like when it comes to like doing the podcast, I was the one that actually started it with like doing the doc, and then like
The
the
audio. Yeah.
editing the audio and all that stuff, posting it on Anchor. Like I kind of took the front and all of that. And then eventually, like early on, like after a few episodes, then we aligned on how to do it, and then so it became something that we could both do and we could both alternate. But when it comes to streaming, that was always your thing. That was always like 100% Lewis's thing. He has the setup, he has the OBSs, he has like the capture card and everything else that he might need. And so like in his house, he's done various streams, even like beyond just like the things we've done together. You streamed for Level 1 Gaming, and you streamed your Smash Brothers or Street Fighter tournaments and stuff like that. And it's interesting because like I have never really done any of that. Like I've streamed a few times by myself in without like a real proper setup, just out on my computer. And when Lewis was here at my house and we're talking about like playing the game together and streaming it, I kind of had the realization of like, man, I don't even know how to do this. Like I was like, he was like, well, we just get a capture card and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have a capture card. Like I've never actually went through the steps of like deciding that I was going to do this and getting the stuff that I needed to do it. And so, I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even have a headset that I could use in my console. That was
Yeah.
something that also came up. We were trying to play
Halo.
Halo together, and I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean we can't just be on Discord on our phones or something?" It's like, I do have a headset, like you see me wearing right now. I do have this headset, but it's audio like or it's the speakers only, not the mic, and then it connects into a Rode NT mic that I have like on my table, right, like on my desk at work. And so I don't have like the typical like gamer headset where it's like mic and speaker together. I did not have anything like that, so I literally had to buy one. Just and I just bought a cheap one on Amazon or whatever. I probably had I did own them at some point. It was just like they got old and flaky, and I got rid of them in a move or something. And then this has just been my setup forever. And so, yeah, it was just I just think it's funny that it reminded me of like kind of like things that are your role in the partnership versus my role. Like I've always done the thumbnails, for example,
And
and
this beautiful blue
yeah,
overlay that you see, it was all Dan, not me. I can't. I would never have
yeah,
been
yeah,
able to do any of this shit.
and how like we kind of come together in that sense.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, no, I actually did think that we could have pulled it off because you have a Logitech webcam that we could have just yoinked out of your desk, and then we could have plugged it in directly into the Xbox. And then I think so we could have just signed into the Ready Press Play Twitch account in the
hmm.
Xbox and integrated, and we could have just streamed like that. I think that's cool. My original plan was for that because I knew we could have done that, but then like when we just got there, I wasn't really feeling it either, to tell you the truth, about like streaming it. So yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to push or campaign like, no, let's nah. Yeah, but yeah, either way, yeah, we really didn't miss much. We were just getting to the tutorial section and stuff like that. We're really into the heart of the game right now as we went to part
Yeah.
two. So, and plus, not to mention, I went back and I made sure that we ended the stream by us talking about our thoughts, which we repeated ourselves from in person, so that way we have it on camera.
Hmm.
So, yeah. All right. But anyways, I have other news to catch you guys up on. The next bullet point I have is that I got Dan to agree to do an episode 156 later this year at some point. I will be teasing the premise of the episode. I will be going back and listening to all 150, not so much the newer ones, the post ending, but I will go back and listen to all 150 episodes plus the DLCs, and I will take notes and I will make trivia questions based off of the show run and like lore and stuff. So you listeners can become a crazy obsessed fan and find all the Easter eggs and stuff like that. And then once you get a 100 on the pop quiz, I will not want to meet you. So
Do you, Louis? Do you think you can get this done realistically by the end of this year? Because that feels like a big project.
we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Like
I
we're
mean,
talking 300 hours ish of content to listen to.
it depends on if I like listen to an episode a day or something like that. I don't know. That's like
Yeah.
150 days. That's like a third of the year. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Okay. Oh
Exactly.
fuck. You know what? Maybe 156 or that premise will not happen
Unless
in
you're like
2025.
scrubbing through it or just looking for specific topics or whatever. And the funny thing too, here's how much of a task this is that you've
Uh,
taken without realizing.
okay. Okay.
And you're gonna have to do it now.
Okay.
Um, every episode probably averages about an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Now, if typically if you're listening to a podcast, maybe you can listen to it and multitask, do other things or whatever. But if you're specifically looking for trivia questions and stuff, I take it that you might want to like be actually paying close attention to those, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to those, like if you listen to the podcast one per day, that's like if you do it 7 days a week, that's like more than 10 hours of content. It's basically a part-time job at that point where you're just listening to Ready Press Play. And that would still take 150 days, like you said, which is 5 months. That would still take from like now, if you started today listening to one episode per day, you'd be done on November
October
or no,
6th. Yeah, probably.
or 6, yeah.
Damn.
God.
Okay. That premise is coming
Yeah.
in 2026. Let's postpone that.
Yeah.
But
But here's
yes.
the thing. If you go through and you do that, I'm gonna add more. I'm gonna add some more labor here, but it's
Okay.
because I think it would be worth it. Which
Okay.
is that if you're gonna go and do that anyway, then I think you should have some kind of spreadsheet
Mm-hmm.
on that we share
Okay.
where you can add in certain things for like every episode, like almost like summarize like the topics or whatever that we can later turn into a wiki of so like any kind, like you're gonna be looking for trivia anyway, but any kind of like fun facts or whatever, or like interesting things. Like I know that with other podcasts they'll keep track of the guests and like how many like are the co-hosts and like which co-hosts were in it the most often and stuff like that. In our case there wasn't too much variation for that to make sense. But
Although
still, just
I
like I
think
would
I
just
had a higher episode count than you, though, I will say. I think you missed, I don't know about, yeah, Ready Press Play. I feel like you missed some. I know I only missed one on purpose, and
Mhm.
it was by design. But otherwise, I think I made every
I think
episode.
I think you missed one, and I think I missed at least two, maybe three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. We all know who's the real star of Ready Press Play. I know
I
your
think you
name is
did.
first, but just saying.
I think you did an episode with Hugger.
Yes, I did.
You might have done two actually. Those might have
I
been
did one
the
with
ones,
Dallas and
but
one with Hugger. That was what it was. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh my God, I'm just remembering the little replay, and then you suddenly turn into Dallas and then back again. But anyways, let's say what else? Oh yeah, okay. So another thing I gotta tell you guys about is I'm no longer the Fortnite guy. I have decided to completely, utterly like just drop Fortnite for the betterment of my wallet because I think I revealed last episode or so, or maybe 2 episodes ago, that I dropped like 5 grand on Fortnite. So just casually, just talking about just dropping 5 grand on a free to play game. Then that was over the
well,
course of over the
over
course of
multiple
yeah,
years.
it was over the course of 4 years. I think I downloaded the game in 2017. I did my first transaction in 2020, and then so
Yeah.
like yeah,
I mean,
um,
that's better than that time where you dropped 5 grand at once and then we met.
and then we
But
just me and 5 grand just part ways so easily.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but anyways, I'm dropping Fortnite, and I've only dropped $20 on Halo so far, and that's where I'm gonna hold the line there. Okay, so I decided to buy some of that in-game currency to swag out my character a little bit better, but then I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna buy any more skins or any of that shit. I'm just gonna make do with $20. And I just bought that $20 like literally a week ago. I played the game for a year and a half now, or a year and a quarter, without paying money for Halo, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well just give Microsoft some shekels. Um, so I'm playing Halo. I'm practically playing it daily. I got a squad. We got like 8 of us. Dan actually guest spotted on the Halo squad, and I got him to like Halo a little bit. So, anything you wanted to say about that?
I was actually wondering because I'm getting this weird deja vu about this. I'm like, didn't we talk about this already on a previous on the previous one we recorded? When did we last record one of these?
You know what?
Game Awards.
We did play. We did. I
You,
think I might have said it. Yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right. I think I
yeah,
probably did say
yeah.
that. It is deja vu.
Not like a problem or anything, but yeah. So Lewis is a Halo guy now, and I play Marvel Rivals,
Oh,
which
nice.
is something that I never saw coming, and it's actually pretty fun. And I actually like put some money in the game too. Well, all I did was I bought the battle pass for the season that I was playing it in, and it was a pretty cheap. I think it might have been $10, relatively cheap battle pass and some pretty cool skins in there and stuff. So um yeah, I actually I honestly I am off the mind that and I told Lewis this off camera at one point, like I think that the fact that everybody's compared that game to Overwatch is actually not fair to the game because I feel like the game is so much better. And I say this as somebody that okay, I can't really speak critically about Overwatch because I didn't play it that much, but I just feel like Marvel Rivals has like captured me so much more and faster than and Overwatch just didn't. And so like just from my exposure to it, I'm just like this just feels so much better, so much more fun. I also find it weird that like people so obsessively compare this third person game with the first person game.
Hmm.
And I guess like maybe to other people that doesn't matter as much, but to me it completely changes what the game even feels like. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. If you want to play with me though, just don't, because I'm I am not very good at the game, and I have this thing where it's like I just kind of prefer to play these things by myself because then I feel like less bad about sucking. Um, but anyway, yeah,
And
it's
speaking
a fun time.
of being bad at video games, segue. I actually have an announcement to make, and this happened between the Game Awards and now, so this isn't actually like new news. Not to Dan because Dan and I have actually. Oh, side note, Dan and I have actually been pretty good at being friends offline and stuff like that, and actually staying in touch with each other and stuff like that. So there you go. Uh, but yeah, I am now a newly anointed pro video game player. I officially made the top 10 local Dallas Fort Worth Smash 64 power rankings. I'm at number 10. So I am,
Congratulations.
yes, I am on the official thing. I think there's a page on like Wikipedia or something like that. You can find my name there, which is kind of funny. Is last year in 2024, I didn't even make honorable mention, and I qualified for the 2024 rankings. So I was very happy that I did. I not only did I just made past honorable mention into the actual number 10 spot.
Yeah,
So
fuck those guys.
yeah, exactly. All you got to do is just compete and take some names, and
Do,
then
do you know? Do you know who got out of the ranking so that you could get in the ranking?
probably people that stop playing. That's
Okay,
probably
okay, that makes sense.
yeah. So
I was just gonna ask, is there like any bad blood or something? Like, is there like people are throwing eggs at your house or
no.
something? They're like, fuck that guy. Like that guy took my
That's
Smash
probably
64
64
power
ranking
ranking spot.
spot. Yeah, it's a bit of a big fish in a small pond kind of thing because only like number one is in the global rankings, and then number two through 10 is not. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, you got a path though. Like, I mean, you got a path laid out in front of you of like all the.
yeah,
There's are you number 10? I assume.
yes, I'm number 10.
Or
Yeah,
so you only have 9 people to beat to
yes,
make it
to
to
number
the
one.
to make it to the world
The world
to the world
stage.
rankings.
Yeah, number one is like number 29 or something, or 22, somewhere in the
Hmm.
20s in the world right now. And so he's gotten on the big stage and competed against like the actual top 10 and stuff like that. And may have taken a game or two off him, but like, he just lives like I went to his house. I went to number one's house, and he lives like 15 minutes away from me. And it's kind of cool that if I, were to reach out to him more often, he could probably like, take me under his wing, so to speak, if I were
Yeah.
so inclined.
I know that I know that you're calling them number one just to like, not out them in the podcast or whatever, but I just find it funny that like imagining that you call all those people like they're characters in Kids Next Door. Like the Cartoon Network show where they're like number one and number two and number three and yeah. Anyway.
I mean, honestly, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I guess there are public names in there. It's not like it's
Yeah.
not a secret. And
I know, I'm
number
just
one
messing around.
is a known pro gamer. I could just easily say his name, but I don't know why I don't. But let's just keep it a mystery. I'll let you guys look it up. So, and the last thing I was gonna say that I have for my announcements is that I put myself on the wait list to play the Switch 2 early. So I hope I can get it and play it in Dallas later this month. Um, so yeah, and which is kind of full circle because I played the Switch 1 early too when I went to San Antonio to PAX. I think it's PAX South or something. So yeah, that's pretty much all I
Nice.
got. Dan, do you have any announcements or anything that you want to share with the class?
I actually don't have much. I mean, Lewis and I got to spend some time together in person this year, like you said in the beginning, which was very nice because we had not seen each other in person in 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Since I was driving, road tripping my way to Orlando, and I stopped by Dallas, and one night we got like cookies or ice cream or something. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's things happening in my life, just not necessarily things that I'm able to talk about right now. But nothing crazy. It's just uh yeah, you can expect me to still be working in the same place, and I'm no longer on Twitter.
Okay.
Kind of like I've
Oh,
gotten a little more.
has power up
Yeah,
Dan?
go
Just
ahead.
delete that. Just delete that power up Dan. Just like.
I mean, you still might find that in some places. I mean, my Twitter still exists. I just don't. I literally deleted it off my phone.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So the account
and
exists.
yeah,
Yeah, he just won't check it. You know what?
you know what?
Just add him
I'll
on X. Add him on
I'll
X,
do
and,
one
and there you
thing.
go.
I'll do one thing, which is that I'm working out consistently now, and I've been working out consistently for roughly the past 6 months. And when I say consistently, I don't mean I'm not doing it every day. I'm not going crazy. I'm just saying like consistently every week. I go 3 times a week,
Dan showed me a
and
thirst trap
start.
on his phone, so he's yeah.
No, um, I'm starting to see some results and stuff, so that's cool. So yeah, just trying to work on my health a little more. And but yeah, other than that, I mean, I went to Japan last year in November, but I think I already talked about that on the Game Awards episode.
Yeah.
So no no longer news. Um,
All right.
maybe I'll have some more interesting stuff to share the next time we do one of these.
Cool. All right. So remember, we used to meet every other Friday morning to discuss the top news of the week and notable releases on all platforms, big topics of the industry and the games we love. You know the drill. But now it's time to get on to the actual topics of discussion, which is actually one topic broken up into like 50 topics. So the Switch 2 Direct happened. What was it like April 2nd? Yeah, literally the day after April Fool's Day.
Hmm.
And I decided to just basically use this IGN article here as a little to keep my flow going. So let's see here. Ooh, I didn't even set up the the capture for the Chrome. Okay, well whatever. You know what? There. Negative. Okay, all right. So pardon the technical stuff, but I did not in fact have the window capture ready to go. So there you go. I fixed that here. And now, on to the actual news, the Nintendo Switch Direct and everything that announced. So I'm going to just go ahead and go by bullet point. The Switch 2 is going to cost $450 for the regular Switch, like just the Switch 2, $500, which will have a bundle of Mario Kart World in it, digital copy. The pre orders were going to begin on April 9th, more to come on that later. The Switch 2 is going to have 4K HDR, 120 frames per second support, 3D audio support. It's going to have 56 gigabytes internally, and it will also the Joy-Con 2 will have mouse controls. And lastly, the main takeaway is that there's going to only be micro SD express cards only to be supported because it's got the faster read and write speeds. I'm guessing they're trying to go for like that PS5, Xbox Series, you know, read and write speeds for faster loading times. Let's see here. What else? There's going to be a 7.9-inch LCD screen, no OLEDs, which kind of sucks. Maybe they'll, make an OLED model later on down the line. As far as accessories goes, there is a $50 webcam. Nintendo made their own Discord, and it's got a C button in the Joy-Con that basically stands for game chat or just chat, I guess, or communication, whatever that C stands for. There's going to be a new feature where it lets you, it's called Game Share, which lets you essentially do like download and play for like the 3DS and the DS, where you can basically like remote into other sessions of an active game and then just play a game together on multi screens. And yeah, that's basically the main gist of it. And I will stop right there to take a break. Dan, do you have any comments, concerns?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna start with some general thoughts, if that's okay.
All right.
And my general thoughts is that over the past uh over the past few months, and especially kind of in the beginning of this year and leading into the announcement of the Switch 2, and also including the past like direct that they did, which was like kind of the final direct for the original Switch. I am reconnecting with my love for Nintendo as a company. And it's interesting because I think I go through those phases over time where like Nintendo is the first game company that I really interacted with, and with the SNES, which was my first console. And over time, I kind of like sometimes forget about them a little bit and go play other stuff and go play PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. And then, but they always manage to recapture me. And something that has happened recently is that Leah actually like we went to Japan in November last year, and I went to a bunch of Nintendo like stores over there, and I was so happy to see all the merch and like all the amiibos and Pikmin merch and stuff like that. And then I realized that I had not played Pikmin 4 yet, and Leah, after we talked about it, she gave me that game for Christmas, and then I've been playing Pikmin 4 since then and having a really good time.
Nice.
And I know I'm going a little long here, but it's just to get to the point where it's like there's only been a few times in our lifetime where we got to see Nintendo announce a brand new console. And I really wanted to savor that moment and almost like take off the critical glasses, the old, like jaded kind of glasses a little bit that we've grown to have, and just enjoy it and just like be there and just be part of it and accept, like basically accept everything that Nintendo wanted to give me. And seeing like everything, like the new Mario Kart, like the new Donkey Kong game, like seeing Metroid Prime 4, I was just giddy, like so excited about everything that I was seeing, and it just reminded me of how special this company truly is, to have all these brands that speak to us so well, like all these mascots that we love, and be able to pull them out, off their pockets every few years and like get us so excited. And how cool is it too that Nintendo is so about like doing things their own way, that they'll do things like the game share feature, and talk about it in this very Nintendo way where they're like almost like over explaining it so that everybody can understand it. And it's something I'm telling you right now, no other company would do that. Like let you lend your digital games to your friends. That doesn't seem like something Sony or Microsoft would ever do, really.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
last week's direct. Whenever they did the whole virtual cards or something like that, virtual
yeah.
game cards. Yeah, I remember that. And then
Uh, I don't know, man, but like, they got into it in this direct as well, and I'm just, my point is just overall, I'm just very excited. I'm very excited. I'm very happy. I know that there's some negative stuff that we're gonna get to, and I agree with some of it, and I disagree with some of it. But I'm just very excited that we're getting a new Nintendo console for the first time in like 8 years.
yes, absolutely. I will appreciate the sentiment, and I will also like what's it called? I will something the sentiment. I will.
piggyback
Piggyback it. Yeah,
or
sure. Sure. Not sure what the word I was looking for. But anyways, I was gonna say that in regards to the game, the direct itself, I do remember I was watching it on my phone. Like I was trying, going to the gym, and
Mhm.
I'm working out too, but not nearly inconsistently like unlike you. But anyways, I was on my way to the gym, and I'm like, okay, and I'm just sitting in there like trying to, in the parking lot waiting for the direct to end, so I can go into the gym and start, working out. But I'm in the parking lot, and I just remember that feeling of just like being inundated with just so much. I was like, damn,
Mhm.
this direct is packing quite a punch. Like it was, it's 1 hour and it's better than most E3s that are like an hour and a half to two. Um, and it was just like so crammed full of information, and I just remember thinking to myself like, wow, this is I was just like my nerd, part in the phrasing with my nerd boner is like yeah, I was like thinking, I was like, man, this the Donkey Kong game looked like it was made by the Mario Odyssey team. Like it may have
Mhm.
been. They didn't really say who made it or not, but I was just saying, going by the look, it seems like it was the Mario Odyssey of Donkey Kong. And I've kind of like the new Donkey Kong model is growing on me because it looks like they sort of redesigned them for the Mario movie, and now they're using that
Mhm.
Donkey Kong on the Mario Kart World and now the Donkey Kong Bonanza. So it just feels like now that's kind of growing on me. The new Mario model is also looking like, with the new voice actor, it's also kind of looking like they're trying to like sort of like
Rejuvenate.
yeah, basically, yeah, a new facelift for everyone, basically, is what it's
Mhm.
kind of looking like to me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I very much like what they're going for. I think they're doing. I think there's a synergy between what Nintendo is now doing with entertainment, with movies, with the theme parks, and then with their games and their consoles moving forward. And it seems like Nintendo really is becoming this this like entertainment brand, right? That goes beyond just game cartridges or something. And I think Nintendo always had that. I mean, Nintendo as a company has existed way before they were even making video games. But it's just been cool to see them embrace all of this, right? Like the movies and the theme parks, and like having like Shigeru Miyamoto come in and like explain that stuff and how it all connects. And I saw that with the Donkey Kong model as well. I was like, I think that this kind of seems to match what they're doing with the movies a little more. And then like seeing like even in Super Mario Wonder a few years ago, I already felt like Mario in that game kind of looked more like the Mario in the movies. And I don't I don't mind that. I very much like this, like it feels like we're in this new era of Nintendo where Nintendo is cool again, right?
Yeah.
Like and they've been cool again for years now, but there was kind of like a low point there that I think started at the end of the Wii era onto the Wii U. Like people had gotten kind of burned on the Wii. I feel like a lot of the hardcore gamers or whatever got burned on the Wii towards the end of it, and then we had the Wii U, which a lot of people did not buy into. And then now I feel like Nintendo appeals to everybody again. They appeal to the families, they appeal to the hardcore gamers, they appeal to the Nintendo fans. Um, I mean, there's something in this direct that I think is probably the biggest drop on it, or the biggest surprise, which is the From Software game.
Yes.
Because like that is one of those things where like we don't really talk about exclusives in the same way we used to anymore. But if you look back a little bit at a past era of the industry, that would have been like a slam dunk, like such a big get
Hmm.
for a company. To get an exclusive from Software is the kind of things that like it makes me think of like the console wars of the past, and like, oh, like you may have this but you don't have that or whatever, right? Like I know we're past that, and I've always been pro us being past that. uh, but just looking at it as a business decision, it's like, holy shit. Like, they are going to sell so many consoles on that alone, because the From Software fans are some of the most hardcore fans out there, and they will play all of their games. And especially being able to play, okay, so playing Elden Ring on the go, that's already something a lot of people would get into. But on top of that, there's a new game exclusive to the Switch. I've already seen in like channels of communication that I'm in, people being like, guess I'm getting a Nintendo console now. Like people that are not typical like consumers of Nintendo. Like, and I was thinking, I think the last time that Nintendo got something like this was Bayonetta. which that in itself is already more than 10 years ago. So I don't know. I just think that is huge news, and possibly not even being talked about enough. I think that that is gonna, as long as the game is good, I think, which I assume it will be. It even has the same director and everything that than the big From Software games. Um, I don't know. I think this thing is as long as people can afford it, I think this thing is gonna sell a lot.
Hmm. I was actually a little, I kind of a little miffed about the, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambivalent, as I guess is the word.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I mean, that's cool. Like Dusk Bloods, as the Dusk Blood or whatever it's called. It was like, it just kind of feel like it was, it I'm not saying I hated it, but I'm also didn't I was kind of like neutral about it because like in my head it's like Nintendo has a certain audience, especially early adopters. I just don't see it being a good, what is the word, like a fit. Yeah. Audience to you know
Don't get me wrong. I know where you're coming from, and I myself, I don't know if I will play the game because I don't really like From Software games that much. I just think it's I just think it's a good like strategy to just sell consoles to people that typically would not buy them.
yeah.
I think it's kind of like how like with the Wii, right? Like where the Wii had certain games that did not appeal to the traditional gamer audience, but appealed to like a broader audience. Like Elden Ring was huge. Like Elden Ring was a kind of game that like people I know in my life that do not play games were
Played it,
coming and
yeah.
talking
I
to me
know.
about Elden
Yeah.
Ring, right?
Same.
So it's like if this game has the potential to even come close to having that kind of impact, like it could be a huge get for Nintendo. Like that could be the biggest like third party exclusive that Nintendo has ever had. Uh
I'm also skeptical about it being exclusive. I think it's a timed exclusive.
mm, that's fair.
I mean,
That changes things a little bit,
I'm
but it also depends on
unless
how.
it's Bloodborne and it's fucking like it's it. It's just Bloodborne. It stays on the PS4 forever and ever. Like I guess sure.
Mhm.
By the way, people are asking for Bloodborne, either sequel or re-release. So
Mhm.
people were expecting that in a
People
10-year.
love Bloodborne.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we got a blood. The Switch has got a blood. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. The FromSoft stuff is later on in the doc. We might retouch on that. But anyways, other stuff to hit up on is that there's an $80 Pro controller. It's got the C button, the GL and GR buttons, which is actually new because people Nintendo consoles don't have back paddle buttons. The headphone jack, which in my head I feel like the headphone jack should have been on the Switch One, but whatever. And then we got a $90 Joy Cons. The dock is $110, and there's two carrying cases, but I was honing in on one because there's one carrying case that's called the all-in-one carrying case that has $80. So we've got a whole topic later on about the pricing and stuff like that. But given the 450 price point, plus I'm gonna get myself some of these accessories and stuff like that. I'm always down for a second dock. So I'm gonna be spending like north of like PS5 Pro money here at this point with all these accessories. What about you, Dan? How are you gonna cut it? Are you gonna just stick to just using your Switch One Pro controller onto your Switch?
Yeah, so like I think I'm gonna give my opinion about the pricing in general. Like I think that a lot of the pricing I actually find it to be fair. Like I think the pricing of the console seems fair to me. Like that's in line with the like PS5 and the Xbox Series X right now. And for $500 you get a game with it, which is like a pretty what I assume will be a pretty top tier game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean it's 2025. Like we've had a lot of inflation. Like it's expected for things to go up, and we're not even getting into the tariffs
Yeah.
conversation yet. I actually think because they delayed the pre-orders, I think these prices, when they actually go on sale, I think they're going to be higher than this because I think they're going to have to bring them up to account for the 25% tariffs
Yeah.
that they're putting on things from Japan. So I actually would not be surprised if a lot of these things went up by 20, 15, 20, 25% or something like that by the time you can actually get them. That's when it's going to get into tough, like even tougher territory to be able to spend money on these things. I think the accessories, I already thought this with the Switch, and I think this with the Switch 2 as well. I think the accessories are too expensive. Um, I honestly like don't understand from a technological standpoint what is in the Pro controller to make it worth $80. Like, and I thought that for the Switch
One
one
seventy
as
dollar pro,
well.
yeah, $70 pro controller.
Like,
Yeah.
because for all intents and purposes, like they probably have the same tech as like an Xbox One controller or something. Um, I don't know. Like that seemed a little much for me. The dock has always been high as well, and I understand that this dock has like a fan on it and some more stuff, some more bells and whistles. I feel like with the extra dock, I think that's more of a luxury item that like I think the average consumer is probably not going to get.
Hmm.
Like I don't see myself getting the extra dock, at least not right away. Maybe a deal, a good deal in a few years or something. Um, I am probably gonna go with just the console with Mario Kart, like the bundle, right? And then I'll probably get some kind of carrying case, but
Maybe not the $80
I don't
one.
know.
There's like a thirty-five
Yeah, maybe
dollar.
not the $80 one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
$35 one I think is what it was. It came with like a screen protector as well. I don't know about the eighty
yeah.
dollar. I don't know. I'm not sure if the $80 one does come with the screen protector. By the way, just based off of what I read on the IGN article.
Have they
Um,
confirmed, by the way, Lewis? Have they confirmed if the old Joy Cons work
yes.
with the like? I assumed that they wouldn't attach,
Yes.
but like you can use them just
Yeah.
outside the. Okay,
Yeah, they all
cool.
the Pro controllers and the Joy Cons all work with the Switch 2. You just have to wirelessly sync them with the sync button instead of attaching them. You just have to make sure that you charge your Joy Cons either with the Switch or with your charging stand that you have. That's pretty much
Yeah.
the only way you can do it. But yeah, they work. You just won't have access to the C button pretty much. Um, but
Do you want to talk
otherwise,
about the chat feature
oh
since
yes,
that came up?
yes. So yeah, Nintendo's Discord. So basically, one of the good news about the $50 webcam that Nintendo said is that you can actually use third-party webcams. So even like my Logitech that I'm using right here, like for the video, like you can just basically plug it into the Switch 2 and it'll work. You just need any webcam, any third-party webcam will work. Even third parties, companies have made webcams already up for sale to launch alongside the Switch 2. I forgot the name of the company. It was Power A or somebody, but they made a webcam that's shaped like a piranha plant, and like the mouth opens
I
and
think I saw that.
it's
Yeah.
the eye or whatever the camera. So basically, yeah, it's that's all it's for. The Switch is basically using its facial recognition just to like crop your face and stuff like that for the games and then and the communication and stuff like that. So yeah, game chat is gonna be free until March 31st of next year. You can, and then after that, it's gonna be locked behind a paywall. I think you have to have an NSO subscription in order to access that feature. Um, so I've been hearing, and even amongst my own friends, I've been hearing like bad opinions about like that's messed up. I can't believe like Nintendo's charging for that. That should just be free. That should just come with the the console and stuff like that. Because like even when I think about my Xbox, like um, Xbox Live, you need to have Xbox Live in order to play games online. But like Xbox Party Chat, like the thing that we did when we were playing Halo,
Mhm.
Xbox Party Chat is free. You can just literally get us talk to people for free on Xbox. So
Yeah.
um, I've seen some a YouTuber say that the C stands for credit card because it's you gotta pay, and it's kind of interesting as if there are people, and I know there are people that do not have NSO at all whatsoever. That means that you have a whole ass button on your controller that does nothing because you don't pay for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I agree in principle that it should probably be free and included with the console, but at the same time, uh don't you need NSO to be able to play online anyway?
Yeah.
You do, right? So
Hmm.
okay, so I just wanted to confirm that before I maybe said something stupid. I think that this problem will not affect a lot of people because I think that most people that would want to use the feature are people that are playing online with their friends, and then those people would already have NSO anyway. So I
I
agree.
believe that they showed the feature being used on games that weren't online. So like you can play
Yes.
games like locally and stream them to your friends and then they can like basically watch party with you or hang out with you kind of stuff. Like it's they also just showed
So
them vibing. So yeah.
there's there's definitely a use case there that's interesting. So like yeah, like people that don't pay for NSO, don't play online, but they want to vibe watching each other play their single player games. Like I just don't know like what percentage of users are actually going to be using that or going to be in that use case.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, like
true.
I feel like I would guess like less than 10%, maybe less than 5% or whatever. Like I don't know, but like yes, I in principle I agree that that should be free. I just don't think that like for example that this is not a problem that will affect me at all because I pay for NSO and I'm happy to for all the other features. So I just get it as a bonus. To me it's just like a bonus feature on my subscription, right?
Hmm.
Um if somebody had like if somebody like this was the only thing they wanted and they had to pay like in order to just do that, then that's shitty, right?
Yeah.
Um it's kind of like you know what I feel similarly about is the cloud saves like on I think
The
it's like
Switch
the
one.
PlayStation
Oh yeah.
or even the Switch one. Yeah, like there a lot of the consoles I think you only get cloud saves if you have the
The subscription.
subscription.
Yeah.
I think that's a shittier one. Like to me that's something everybody should have access to because like that means that if you lose your console
Yeah.
you just lose
SOL.
all your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Um
At
okay,
least with
so
PlayStation, you can take a thumb drive and just locally back it up.
yep.
But then with Nintendo, you can't. You can't even do that.
Yeah.
So
Um, I would add that like just talking about the game chat feature in general, I think it's so funny that Nintendo is doing this so late. And it's like it like we've had equivalent features since the Xbox 360.
yeah, I
You
was gonna
know,
say
that was 20 years
welcome to
ago.
2005, Nintendo.
I know. And it's there people made fun of that for so long that like Nintendo did not have that built in, but on one sense, like you could argue they're learning. They're learning a little bit on their stubbornness and they're actually catching up with the times a little bit.
Actually, true story. I actually used the FaceTime feature on the Wii U once. I made it. So there was very, very few people that owned Wii U's. So the only person I actually became friends with, or at least early on in my Wii U life cycle, I became friends with somebody that I met playing a game, and I forgot what game I met him on, but I just met a rando. His name is
Uh-huh.
Nick. His name is Nick, and I became Facebook friends with him. Never met him in real life, by the way. But anyways, so I ended up FaceTiming Nick because I wanted to, just because I don't know if you remember, but they showed the FaceTiming feature in the 2012 presentation of like, oh yeah, you can use the EU gamepad and the
I remember
camera, and
that, yeah.
so I actually wanted to. I really, really wanted to find anybody in the world to talk to. So I just became friends with him, and I messaged him like, "Hey, I want to video call you just because." And then we did. We talked, and there was like these little filters that you can play with while talking, and it was a cool feature. And yeah, just side story
That's
that went nowhere because even in 2012, Nintendo did video chatting and stuff, just not very well.
yeah, did they shut I assume they shut
Yeah.
down that feature completely,
They
like
shut that
oh
feature
yeah.
down completely, like 2 years or like in 2014, while the Wii U was still the only console before the Switch
Hmm.
came out. They shut that down. They shut down that service
Wow.
alongside other services like Me Street View or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I guess moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the technology aspect of things because we're talking about like Nintendo's Discord and stuff like that. One thing that we just
Hmm.
sort of brushed past, especially when I was going through the beginning, mumbo jumbo, is that I mentioned 4K, I mentioned 120 FPS and 3D audio. And first off, welcome to the PS5 stuff, right? Because that's cool. But secondly, um, it's interesting because I don't think there's ever been a Nintendo Direct where Nintendo has talked about frame rate, about resolution, about 3D audio, and
Yep.
like tech in that
Yeah.
respect. When I think about Nintendo Directs of yesteryear, they always tend to focus in on gameplay features, how fun it is, the experience. They don't really go in on like when they talked about Breath of the Wild, they don't talk about performance. They've never talked about performance in anything I can think of. That's always been beside the point. Um, I just think that it's really interesting that like Nintendo is using that as part of their marketing strategy. I think that's cool.
Hmm.
It appeals to me, but like I'm guessing they need like I don't know any other way to market. I mean I don't know. Like, it feels like they're doing yes and when I think about it, because even when they talked
Yeah.
about like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, they're talking about how fun the game is. They're not talking about the crispy, smooth performance either. And they're talking about both,
Yeah.
I guess. They're not mutually exclusive. But in my head, it's very PlayStation of them or very Xbox of them, and that's very
Well,
un-Nintendo like is what I'm trying to say.
it's very un-Nintendo to name a console two,
That is
right? To
true.
like name a
Yeah.
console like the previous console and then the number two after it.
Yeah.
And I think once again with the game chat stuff, like it shows that Nintendo is like this is very different. This is all very different for Nintendo. This is the first time that we've seen a console announcement where they don't have some like crazy like innovative like feature that we've never seen before that's changing the way that we play, right?
Well, I would say the
It's
mouses.
potentially,
Yeah.
but I feel like not in the same way that like motion controls were in like
6.
2006
Yeah.
or even the like the dual screen like with the tablet and the Wii U and the DS and stuff like
And
that.
the
Like
switch up on the
it,
Switch. Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, Nintendo is playing it safe, right? Like it feels like Nintendo is playing it safe, and they're still doing Nintendo things and doing creative things, but they're also like kind of taking a page off of like what some of their competitors do, and I definitely think that this feels like a more modern Nintendo. This feels like a Nintendo that is trying to learn with the times and is trying to see like what like PlayStation, let's say, is probably the biggest competitor, did well, and like not just fully rejecting it because it's different and it's another company, going like, okay, there are some things here that we could probably do. The thing I still wish that they did that they never did, by the way, is trophies or achievements.
Achievements. Yeah.
Like I honestly like I feel like that is such a no-brainer for Nintendo to do, and they never have.
Hmm.
But just going into the tech a little bit, like I am not an overly like tech-focused guy, which is probably why I even like Nintendo to begin with. But seeing that they're gonna have like 4K, 120 FPS support and 3D audio and all these things, like even the storage, like I know that the storage is small compared to like PS5 and Series X, but the storage is really big compared to everything Nintendo has had before. And so to me, like I just think it's all exciting. Like it's exciting to have 4K support. It feels like Nintendo is sort of closing that gap on the technology battle. Like they're still, yes, it's still a portable system. It's still not going to be able to do as much as the PS5 Pro does at all, of course. But it feels like when we see that Elden Ring is running in it, and when we see that like what Metroid Prime 4 looks like in it, it's like it doesn't really, these games don't really look worse. Like they
Yeah.
don't really look like significantly noticeably worse than games that people are playing on other consoles. So I feel like Nintendo is past that point of like that they were in for a long time where like you would go and play like The Last of Us on your PS3, and then you would go and play something on the Wii, right? And it was like night and day difference.
Yeah.
I think that kind of
Like
maybe
Call of Duty on the
uh
PS3 versus Call of Duty on the Wii.
yep.
It's like a whole different version,
Uh
a whole different game.
I think I think we're kind of done with that. I think the Switch, like we saw some of that on the Switch with like games like The Witcher 3 like running incredibly bad.
Yeah,
Uh
five
I
hundred p or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Switch 2 is like I think they have closed the gap there.
So
Is
what
my
do you
point.
as
Yeah.
far as a speculation, because Nintendo, no one has actually, like, Digital Foundry hasn't had their hands on a Switch 2 yet or anything like that. So they haven't actually run it through the benchmarks, and Nintendo hasn't
Hmm.
told us publicly what the processors are or whatever. We just know that Nvidia made it. That's all we know.
Yeah.
But where do you think the Switch 2 lines up? Like, where do you see the Switch 2 closely being related to? Like, and I'm gonna give you three options that come to my mind, and
Hmm.
you can even enter in a fourth one if you want. But I think PS4 Pro, I think Xbox Series S, I think Steam Deck. So where
Hmm.
do you think like the Switch 2 is at, like, parity wise, from a performance standpoint?
I think realistically probably about a PS4 Pro. Um
Because
the
I
I know
think, yeah,
this
because I think it is an upscaler. It's AI upscaling, so I
yeah,
think, yeah, PS4 Pro doesn't do native 4K, so that makes sense.
yeah. But like honestly like do games really look that much better than they did on the PS4 Pro? Like I guess that's the point. We are at because we are at that point
Diminishing
with graphical
returns. Yeah.
fidelity where it's like diminishing returns. It's like especially on the small screen,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually want to say something. To that effect. I saw when Joseph Ferris, showed a Split Fiction running on Switch 2. I was like, I clutched my pearls. I was like, oh, this is ugly. Like, get this out of.
Oh yeah.
It looked bad to me. I'm not gonna lie, it looked kind of bad. And I
Hmm.
had just seen that cutscene like days
Right.
before, on this crispy 1080p monitor over here. And it looks the textures were kind of a little bad in my opinion, but I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
That's just me though. Yeah.
Yeah, um I did not pay that much attention to that because to me I just looked at it as like, oh cool, like Split Fiction is in it. I wasn't really like analyzing it that or paying that much attention to it that deeply. But I also will say that different developers have different levels of
Optimizations.
ability to optimize games for different platforms. Um I think that like the one that did catch my attention actually was the Pokemon game. Like when I saw the Pokemon game, I was like, "Damn, this actually looks good." And I say this because like Pokemon games have not looked good in a
Yeah.
while, on the Switch. And so um but I don't know. I guess time will tell whether it will be like closer parity with the other platforms or if it's still going to like third party still going to look bad in comparison.
Yeah. All right. So that was basically it from the hardware perspective. Everything else I have here to talk about, at least for this next portion, is going to be all software. So the first thing they opened up with is Mario Kart World. It's going to be the launch title. Um, they're gonna do a Mario Kart Direct later this month, like I think April 18th or something like that. There's gonna be a whole dedicated Direct just for that game. But they did show off a lot of features. It basically, it's like every Mario Kart. Like if you think about like just every Mario Kart in general, like has a gimmicks. Like the GameCube was
Mhm.
Double Dash. It was two people in a cart. The Mario Kart Wii had like you can shake you can steer the steering wheel and you can shake and do tricks and stuff like that. Mario Kart 7 had like gliding and underwater stuff, and Mario Kart 8 had the anti gravity stuff. Basically, every Mario Kart they want to do like a feature gimmick thing, and for this one, for Mario Kart World, they decided to basically make Mario Kart Forza Horizon, essentially.
Mhm.
Open world, you race between races too, racing to the next race kind of thing, and like you can even just do casual like just race with other people and just take in the sights and take pictures and stuff. I think it's really cool. I think that's it was a step that I personally don't have the imagination to envision. Like, oh yeah, just make it open world. Like I was thinking to myself, like I thought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was peak Mario Kart, and somehow they just Nintendo managed to just blow my mind again. Um,
Mhm.
and so yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on Mario Kart World so far?
So, I will also point out that there's these Nintendo Treehouse presentations and videos that Nintendo's been putting out where they're actually going showing a lot more gameplay of some of these games. So I'd recommend people go watch that if they're interested. And I watched some of those for Mario Kart and some of the other games, and I think this game looks really fun, and what they're doing with it is really interesting. I don't know if we'll walk away from it. All right, so I have a concern, sorta, which is that we all walk away from this thinking that was a very interesting spin-off experiment, but let's get back to like normal Mario Kart, right? Like that's the thing that I'm wondering is like, are these changes things that we're actually gonna enjoy and want to stay? Or is it gonna feel like a one-off, like kind of like a wild experiment that we did, and then we actually walk away wanting to go back to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Yeah, Nintendo
Uh,
fans have been calling for Double Dash's, two people in a cart feature for a long time,
hmm.
and they have never gotten it. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. I can see that. I actually do have one slight concern that does come to my mind about Mario Kart World, is that Mario Kart. Every Mario Kart, when I think about like when I have people come over, we play Mario Kart together. We play Mario Kart Wii. We've played Mario Kart
Hmm.
Double Dash. We've played like Mario Kart 8. We've always done like four-player split screen. In my head, I don't even know if it's possible to do Mario Kart World split screen because you've got like a big world rendered, and the Switch run for renders?
I haven't seen it four ways. I would assume so, but I've definitely seen two people playing it on split screen on
Oh,
Nintendo Treehouse.
okay,
Yeah. So
okay.
And the other thing too is that like there's different modes in the game, and when you play Grand Prix, you're still playing through 4 races. The difference is that going from race 1 to race 2 is in itself
A
a
race,
race.
I know.
So
Yeah,
you finish your race and then you go into like, okay, race 2, that is now going from the end of race 1
to the beginning of
to like
race. Yeah.
following the path to the beginning of race 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest, because like I feel like, once again, using your example, you have your friends together, you want to go play a Grand Prix. It almost feels like it's this additional friction in between actually playing what you want to play, because I don't know if people are actually going to be excited for those spats in between races. Like I feel like you might just want to go and play, like be in the stage that you want to be at right away. And so it's like I feel like it's an interesting gimmick. I don't know if people are actually going to enjoy it more, or if they're going to wish they were just there. Because the thing too is I watched the whole playthrough with this, and like it almost sort of feels like you end up, like, let's say you do race 1, you did 3 laps on Mario Circuit or whatever, and then race 2 is supposed to be DK Circuit, but you got to drive all the way there. So you actually spend the majority of your time. It's almost like laps 1 and 2 in quotes, like become like you driving to the track, and then you only do one actual lap in the track. So it almost feels like you're getting less time in the actual track, um, which is to me more fun and more visually interesting than just the driving on the road there,
Hmm.
driving on the path there. And then there's also that's the normal Grand Prix mode, and then they also have a more like open mode where you can just go do like basically explore the world and go do whatever. And that's where you do the photos and stuff. My hope, honestly, Lewis, my hope is that they have like settings to turn certain things on and off. Because otherwise, I actually feel like they're potentially making the Grand Prix less fun, uh, than it was before.
Hmm.
Like, I
Interesting.
don't know.
Interesting.
Like, like I can just see people being like, "Oh, okay, next race is Rainbow Road," and it's like, "Oh, wait, we're not in Rainbow Road yet. You know, we gotta drive there for the next 8 minutes,
we
and
got we
then
got to
you
drive to
and
the
it,
space shuttle and then shuttle.
yeah, like so I don't know. I guess like I'm sort of refraining judgment until I've played it. I definitely want to play it. Like even if it is this wild experiment, we can always go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
And still playable on the
Uh
Switch. Switch
it's
two.
still going to be playable,
Yeah.
right? So like I appreciate them. I respect Nintendo for not just playing it safe on that and trying to do something different though.
I mean,
So,
I do have one concern that did come to my mind actually while you were talking. I actually just realized that this has been a tradition since Mario Kart DS, which is Mario Kart 5. That there's always like 16, usually about 16 new tracks and 16 retro tracks. They've always like remade the tracks with the new gimmicks in mind, so
mhm.
they'll add like layers like ramps that weren't there before just to help bring it to
Yeah.
parity and stuff like that. So I'm in my head, I'm thinking to myself, are they gonna even? Is there even a possibility of doing retro tracks if it's an open world? Are they gonna have to like remake the tracks in an open world to like flesh it out, or like I don't know.
I think I think they'll do the retro tracks. I just think they're gonna be very different. Like I think they're gonna feel more different than I think they might have talked about that in one of the treehouse things that I watched, where I think they're gonna the retro tracks in this game will exist, but they will be way more different from the original tracks than people are used to.
Interesting.
Um,
And also, they're gonna have to
yeah.
remake those tracks anyways because one thing that they I did notice is that they've made the lanes wider because
Mm-hmm.
you have to account for 24 people racing.
Yep.
And I've actually thrown a Mario Kart LAN party with like 6 switches and had 12 people racing, and it's kind of chaotic because people are just bumping into each other and stuff like that. And so in my head, it's like I am I really want to throw a Mario Kart LAN party and have 24 motherfuckers all like racing together, and I'm gonna make that happen before the generation's over. And you're invited, Dan. Um,
Thank you.
so yeah, I'm just trying to say I think to myself like you're gonna have to remake those courses with the open world concept, and you have to make the lanes wider. And then one thing that I saw a certain like I don't know, of an IGN personality or something. I watched a lot of IGN coverage. Is that they said that a wider lane gives you a different view, which throws off the illusion of speed. With the wider lane,
Mm,
you look like you're going slower.
yeah.
So, yeah,
I saw a playthrough of it where they were playing on 100cc, and that looked so slow. And I know that 100cc is slower than
medium. It's
150,
yeah,
but I think that in this game, I think everybody's gonna want to play at 150.
yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and I was gonna save the bad news for its own section, but we'll go ahead and just drip feed some bad news in
Yeah.
here. Let's go ahead and talk about the pricing controversy. So Mario Kart World was announced after, it was like put on like the Nintendo's website or whatever. Like it's gonna cost $80 MSRP. Um, Now, first off, that's a new record, right? A new record, that a
Yep.
new ceiling that just kind of like got pushed up because games were retailing for $70. Even like Nintendo with Tears of the Kingdom, selling it for $70. PS5 games, like they all they're launching at $70. Rumors is that GTA 6 will launch at $100, maybe, possibly. But now, as of right now, the new record holder for the highest MSRP for a new game release is now owned by Nintendo, of all people, with the family-friendly
I know.
company.
They
Uh,
always had the cheapest
yeah,
prices,
they
right?
did.
Like it's yeah.
Exactly. So $80. That's a big, a big lump of coal right there. I gotta admit. Um, it's $80, and you do get a discount if you buy the bundle. It's $50 if you buy the digitally. But I like my games physically, so that's kind of out of the question. I'm not buying the digital
Mm,
version. Um, there are some rumors, and this is like a lot of misconceptions, but it appears to not affect North America. But like certain other regions have the physical version like $10 more than the digital version. So like I think it's like in the UK it's like or somewhere, but it's like $90. Uh,
hmm
and then $90 physically, $80 digitally, and I think that's kind of grimy. Uh, I hope Nintendo doesn't do that, or whatever retailers do it. That sucks, or whatever. I guess whatever extenuating circumstances that causes that to happen, it sucks. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I I mean it could the difference in physical and digital could end up happening here now because of the tariff situation as well. Which I'm only talking about because of how it affects like this stuff. Like I grew up in a country where because of tariffs like this, like we like electronics or any kind of items like that are luxury items that are really expensive and like significant percentages of like people's salaries and stuff to go and buy. I sort of feel like the US is going in that direction where people's purchasing power is going to become like less and less when it comes to like these kinds of things like luxury goods or whatever you want to call them, like imported goods and stuff like that. So that would be more like the economical political kind of take about it, but I want to make it not about that because I think there's something else in here, which is that um, I think that there comes a time every once in a while where somebody has to be the first to pull the trigger doing something like this. It's like we all know games have gotten significantly more expensive to make. We all know inflation and all these things, and I think that we saw it with the PS5 generation. That I don't remember who was first to do it, but somebody was first to do it to price something at $70, and then that kind of became standard there. And Nintendo is now being first to do it with the Switch 2, and once they've done it, the floodgates are open.
Everyone else
You,
is gonna
I
follow.
genu-
Yeah.
yeah, like I genuinely expect that after this, you can all like you should assume like every new AAA game from that point on might very well be $80. Um, Now is that fair? Is where I actually do not side as strongly with the developers that would argue that it is fair because of inflation and all these things. And I say that because like games, like the dynamics of the industry have changed significantly. Like the dynamics of the market have changed significantly. Like games don't just come in like one shape or form anymore and one typical like physical package that you go and buy and everything is included in it and stuff like that. Like nowadays we have DLC releases and we have microtransactions and we have like loot boxes and battle passes and all of these things. And I understand Mario Kart World will not have that, but you're still buying a game where in order to play it online, you have to, spend money on this other subscription, right? In order to access all of the features of the game, you already have to be expected to pay this other like amount of money, right? Like we're talking about a launch title that is here to try to help sell units of the console. Like I I feel like this was potentially not the game to do this. Um and I also feel like sometimes like when it comes to like the inflated costs of making games, I don't necessarily agree with that being pushed to the consumer. I almost feel like that's something that companies need to do better about. Like how can these companies work more efficiently? How can these companies potentially use fewer people or just kind of like work like reuse more assets or whatever? Like how can these companies like account for that in a way that is not just pushing these things into the consumer? And I think they did that for a long time, which is why like games stayed at a low price despite of inflation. I think that we had the jump to $70 that was inevitable. It had to happen at some point or another. This feels too early for another jump. And I think that I kind of wish that Nintendo had, because they are a company that is very successful right now, because they are a company that are selling a lot. All their games sell a lot, like gangbusters. Like they are selling more copies like than any of the other like first party companies, like by a lot. Like you look at the top 10 selling on the Nintendo Switch, like you see like Animal Crossing in there and the Pokemon games and everything else. It is like Mario Kart, like these games are doing insane numbers. Like they do not need to have that high of a profit margin per game sale to be profitable. And so, long story short, I didn't think Nintendo should have been the one to do it. I don't think this was the game to do it. But they made a move and it's going to influence the industry. And sooner or later, I feel like that was going to happen one way or another. Um, I just wish it wasn't now. I wish that it was, maybe a few more years down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't really have much of an opinion. I mean, I always do have an opinion, obviously, but like the best way I can explain it is like I'm that Fry Philip J. Fry meme. Like, shut up and take my money. I think they already had me sold before. So the fact that there's going to be even some sticker shock going on is not really phasing me personally, but that's just because of my financial situation. That being said, it sucks. I just, yeah, I don't really have anything to say other than it sucks, and I feel bad for people. Like there are just people that I know personally just don't have that kind of money to be burning to space spending like that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, especially when it comes to Nintendo, since they're such a family focused, targeted audience and stuff like that, like I know people personally that that's not in their budget. That's just not going to happen. They're not. I would recommend them to buy the game, but they're not going to because there's no. They'd just
Yeah.
come over to my house and play it, and then that's it. I'm not
Oh,
selling them on the units
you can lend the game to them now with the like, or if
digitally.
you had
Okay.
it digitally, right? Like you
Yeah.
could do that. So that's the thing too. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know.
Um, well, also just the price of the Switch 2 is also a little bit like I have a cousin that just bought the Switch 1 last year, like early mid last
Right.
year. So it's like this is it's they're not going to upgrade anytime soon. Um, but yeah, I do have one slight defense for this $80 price, and I will get behind. I will personally put the Louis Menchaca Chakalaka 88 stamp of approval on this $80 price under the one condition is that all DLC is free. That there's not going to be a
Mm,
booster course pass that they'll sell separately.
I think that's totally fair. Yeah.
So like if we're gonna justify that games are no longer $60, then fine. Then just make a booster course pass of all these tracks and all these features, add character DLCs, do all that shit, but don't charge.
Yep.
And then
I I
I will,
think
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think that's totally fair. Like even if you look back, like we spent more money on Mario Kart 8, right? Like we bought Mario Kart, both of us
Hmm.
bought Mario Kart 8 twice. bought the DLC on the Wii U,
Bought the
and
DLC on the Switch.
bought the DLC on the Switch and all that stuff, right? So like, yeah, like if it's $80 all inclusive, like everything that they're gonna put out for this game later on, that's actually a great deal at that point. So, yeah,
I
I
don't
agree
know.
with you.
Like, I feel like that's my wish might come true, by the way, because that's very Nintendo of them to do, by the way. But
Yeah,
like, if it was like any other company that was on PlayStation or Xbox, that's not good. They're gonna do yes
yep,
and is what they're gonna do.
absolutely.
So yeah, that's my only plea to the audience as far as like reasonability. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but yeah, reasonableness is that yeah, let it be all inclusive, and then I can swallow that pill. Is all
Yeah.
I gotta say. All right. So next up is the game that's they kind of I think they closed the show on it, but I have it next on my dock. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's gonna come out in July, and so it's not a launch title, but it's close to launch. It's in that launch window, and it looks like it's the Mario Odyssey team. It's got the new Donkey Kong. What is it called? Model the for like kind of looking like
Hmm.
the Mario movie, Donkey Kong. He's got like overalls, which is interesting because like I didn't realize this, but Donkey Kong was always naked every time he in every game he was in. But like it looks cool. Like it really did. Like he Donkey Kong got the drip. Like I'll admit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
Uh,
game looks awesome. What do you think?
I can tell people a little bit more about this one too. It's like this game is all about like destruction, and Donkey Kong has the ability to like destroy the environment around him and like pick stuff up and like basically like take a rock out of the wall and then like throw it and like surf on it and stuff like that. And there's like, it just looks really cool. Like they're really innovating with what a Donkey Kong game means and what it can mean and what you can do with it. Which once again is very Nintendo. Like I am a huge fan of Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, and I would have probably preferred a sequel to those in like that platform, side-scrolling platformer style. Just because it's something that I've missed for a long time, but I'm still very happy to see Donkey Kong again. And in fact, in the trailer, there's a part where they show like a side-scrolling
Yeah,
section
yeah.
for like
It
a
looked like
shot or something,
it
and
looked
so
like Donkey Kong Country from the Super Nintendo, like remade a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that they're probably going to include some of that in there in some way or another. Overall, I just think it looks great. I think it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I also want to point out that this game is actually, if you go to the official website of it, it is priced at $70 in the
Yes.
official website. So not all games will be $80 just because Mario Kart World is,
Yeah.
which I think is important.
Yes. Good. 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 Yeah. I don't really have much more to say to that. It looks cool. It looked like it almost kind of reminded me about like Nintendo's like design philosophy about like a mechanic and
Yep.
who character can best you know can we iron or glue that into basically it's kind of thing, and when they can't they just invent a new character like Splatoon or whatever. So I think that's
Yep.
really cool, and I think that I'm very much looking forward to it. I haven't actually beat Odyssey. I played like a good 10-15% of it, and this is the part I did play I really loved, and it's giving me that Odyssey vibes is all I gotta say. uh,
Also, I'm pretty sure this game is like open world, like
like
Odyssey
Odyssey, yeah.
is. So there's the trend going on here, which is that Nintendo doing more open world games
Oh,
potentially on the
actually,
Switch too.
I wanna do one last shout out. Shout out to Donkey Kong's facial expressions. That's it.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just giving me that Wind Waker, like Link at the Wind Waker vibes. Yeah. All right. Next up, I have on the dock here Kirby Air Riders. And there's really nothing much to say other than it was an announcement. It was a CGI trailer, the cutscene where they just show Kirby like riding the star or whatever. It
Hmm.
was I figured it out just before they announced it because like because I played Kirby Air Ride. Yeah, I played Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, and so it was like it's giving me that Air Ride vibes, and then it's like yeah, Kirby Air Riders.
Hmm.
And guess what? They announced before they put Sakurai's name, they put the Sora logo when it was spinning, and I
Uh-huh.
recognized. I know as a Smash fan, I know what Sora. I know that Sora logo looks like. I was like, oh Sakurai, it's gonna be Sakurai, and it's Sakurai. Yeah, I was like, yay! And the only reason why it matters is because A, Sakurai created Kirby, and B, Sakurai did direct the first Kirby Air Ride. So Sakurai is coming back and directing its sequel, which is great and perfect because, you know, Kirby Air Ride is a bit of a cult classic. People love that game, and it's kind of hard to come by. As a matter of fact, I tried playing my copy of the GameCube, and my GameCube disc must, I guess, not up to snuff because it crashes. Like it must have a scratch or something that I didn't see. So I don't really get to. I never really got to truly enjoy the full might of Kirby Air Ride. So I hope to be able to enjoy Kirby Air Riders. Yeah.
Yeah. I never played the original. I haven't played too many Kirby games. I've played a few. Like the ones I've played, like I've liked, but they were very giddy and like very easy and stuff. And I know that like those are not necessarily the best ones or whatever. But I think the most interesting part of this announcement is like I'm happy that they're going back to a game in the series that the fans absolutely love, and I'm sure that like Kirby fans are super excited about this. I am happy to see Sakurai do something different
Other than
that's not
Smash.
Smash Brothers because he's obviously this very talented director, right? Like he makes excellent games. The last time that we saw him do something that wasn't Smash Brothers was Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS, and that had some issues, but for the most part, it was a great game as well. And so I'm excited to see him do this. Now, I wasn't sure how you were going to feel about it, Lewis, because this probably means that we're not going to see a new Smash for a while.
Yeah, I
How do
know.
you feel about that?
I I'm of the opinion that I actually don't know actually because in my head I thought they were working on Smash already after they stopped working on Smash Ultimate. I thought they did the thing where like with the Smash Wii U, as soon as they like finished making Bayonetta, they just started working Smash Ultimate like immediately. And I
Hmm.
thought that they were going to do the same thing where they were just going to be quietly working on the next game. And plus, not to mention, I think Sakurai has said on his own personal YouTube channel that he said that like the next Smash game can't possibly be better than Ultimate. They're going to have to pare down the cast. They can't just you can't do everyone is here, and if you did a second time, it wouldn't be a special.
Could
So
they
like it's gonna. I'm thinking reboot territory for Smash Bros. So yeah.
could they possibly do a Game of the Year edition of Smash Ultimate on the Switch 2 with like all the DLC and all that? Would that be enough for this generation potentially?
Honestly, I would prefer that. Like I don't I don't know how to make Smash Brothers any better. Other,
Open world.
yeah, yeah. Like, and personally, because like I am not a fan of. Well, I'm a fan of watching Melee. I'm not a fan of playing Melee. There's a difference.
Hmm.
I don't want Smash to go so hardcore into that Melee territory. I think Smash Ultimate is in that Goldilocks zone of just right. Uh,
Hmm.
and so I just can't see like in if I was running shit and I was like like this is like Lewis is like the CEO of Nintendo. I would just say we're gonna make Smash Ultimate Gold, right? We're just gonna call it Gold Edition, or Smash Ultimate Plus or something. But it's gonna be a re-release with all the DLC that came out before, just put in the cartridge and part of the a new 1.0 edition basically. And then we're gonna like make new characters like add new characters to the roster, new stages, and make that part of the 1.0, and then make DLC season passes after that. That's how I
Hmm.
was gonna do it. Is just basically just add on top of it. I'm in my head. I was gonna do that, and then bring back some old modes, like make a Subspace Emissary 2, make
Right.
trophies, bring trophies back, and then call it a day. Yeah, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That would be my my
Yeah.
my my personal thing, but I don't think we're gonna get that. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. I feel like it's just like you said, like Ultimate was so, I don't know, it was so good, and it brought like so many people, like so many, like it brought all the characters back and all that stuff, and they added so many new cool characters as well, and there's so many characters that you would never expect. Like that roster is just insane. It's just so big, and there's so many third party characters and all that stuff. Like I wonder how the licensing would work for even like doing a re-release of it, if they can just do it or if there would be issues with that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Um
You're right. Everyone got a cut.
so yeah, I don't know, like I kind of wonder like maybe Smash is supposed to stay dead for a while. Like just or not, not dead like cuz Smash is not going to die. Like they could not release another Smash game for 10 years and it would not be dead because people are still playing Smash 64 and Melee to this day, right?
I'm competing in
So,
64 actively right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you that like maybe they just need to sit out like a generation and then just come back with a reboot next gen or something like that. Is
I don't know about that. I think that reboot has to happen
yeah.
this gen. But yeah, I just imagine like a 20 to 30 character roster where you pare down, you get down to the core characters, like who makes.
Mhm.
It's almost like almost kind of like playing like The Bachelor with Smash Brothers. Like who
Mhm.
makes the cut, like who gets the rose, who doesn't. It's like yeah, everyone knows Mario and Link are gonna make it, but who else is who's gonna get cut? Like are we gonna cut Min Min?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cutting Min Min.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. Anyways, all right, on to the next one. Um, they showed off Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're gonna be ready at launch. They're gonna get basically Google Maps on the Nintendo Switch online app. That's gonna be you can like in real time as you move your Google Maps on your phone will move with it, so you can like navigate to places that you want to go in Hyrule. So that's kind of cool. And then you get to get 4K and 60 frames of support for both of those games. Um, Dan, I guess we're gonna sprinkle in some more bad news. How do you feel? What are your thoughts about Nintendo charging for a performance upgrade? Because I believe they're gonna be $10 each for just to get a performance boost, to get a patch. Because really, in actuality, let's just call a spade here. No one's using the Nintendo Switch app to navigate in Hyrule. No one's using it. I think that's just something you try once as a novelty. You're really only paying for the performance boost, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way I feel about that is it depends on how much work went into the game. Like I feel like if they actually had to put a somewhat significant amount of work on it to have those boosts happen, like there's a difference between like you have an executable in your computer, right? And it will run better in a better machine versus like the worst machine. There's a difference between that and the work that actually gets done in a remastered game or a port where they go in and they're like, implementing
Optimizing.
new effects or whatever,
Yeah.
optimizing and etc. So to me, that's kind of what it comes down to. Like, if there's some work there, and with some of these games, like we can kind of talk about them and together, I think. But like with some of the other games, like they added new modes and stuff, right? Like with Mario Party, they seem to have
Yeah.
added some new
Yeah.
modes. Like for stuff like that, I feel like it's 100% justifiable. Um, if there's nothing that you can really see like that, if there's no like cool new feature really, um, then I feel like yes, it is a little shitty. But also like I kind of don't want to hate on Nintendo for it because I feel like everybody does this.
Yeah.
Like
So
I
here's
don't know.
here's what's going on. Okay, so basically Nintendo has not officially released the pricings for the upgrades yet for North America.
Hmm.
I believe, and this is just what I was heard, is that the Japanese market's already got their pricings down. And if you do rough translations to what would it be in America, people are speculating that it's going to be $10 for some and $20 for others. So like Mario Party for Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, that mouthful, it's gonna be $20 because not only are you getting the
Mm.
performance boosts that they're talking about, but you're also getting essentially DLC, new mini games that are compatible with the webcam, stuff like that, and the mouse. Uh, those are things that are going to be taking advantage of the new hardware features for the Switch 2. You're paying $20 for the Kirby and the Forgotten Land because it's got a whole new DLC courses and stuff like that that's added onto. So uh, it's basically got an internal logic that's consistent. Great, Nintendo's doing
Mm.
that. So you'll pay $10 for just if you're only getting performance boosts and stuff like that, and $20 if you're getting the performance boost plus DLC. So that's cool. The problem is that Nintendo is also giving out patches for free to other games. So Mario Odyssey will get an optimization patch. It's not gonna be called a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. It's just getting a patch for better performance. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which run atrociously on the Switch, are getting performance patches on the Switch 2, which is needed. And thank God they're not charging for that because that would suck if they did. Because you can't imagine like people already shitting on Scarlet and Violet and how bad it looked. And I watched Fame play that on Level One Gaming. It was bad. So games like that are gonna get like performance boost and they're going to be patched for free, but also, on the other hand, we're going to get Switch 2 editions that we're charging for. So it's like, I don't know.
Okay.
It's kind of weird like that.
So when you actually break it down for me like that, I actually like what they're doing better than before, because there seems to be a method to the madness and kind of like a logic that's based on probably how much work they put into it. There could even be a logic based on like whether like they're trying to be fair, like Scarlet and Violet ran really poorly originally anyway. They're like, well, okay, let's just give people this for free, you know, because they deserve it. I would also add this: when we went from the Wii U to the Switch, like any game that you owned on the Wii U
You
that
got to
got a
buy again.
port or a
Yeah.
remaster on the Switch, you had to fully buy it again,
Hmm.
right? Like I understand that they had to do that because of like physical like differences between the consoles. They couldn't just
Shove
um
a disc into the
like
Switch. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right? But I think like coming from that, I actually think this is a benefit. Like the idea that I could take my whole Switch collection and for the games that get these upgrades, like I can go and spend $10 here and $20 there and $10 here and $20 there, and I can have all of these like new enhanced versions with new levels and whatever. Like to me, that is better than what I've seen before. I think that is better than spending $60 or $70 for a full remaster in other consoles that they do sometimes, and they don't sometimes don't even give you the option of an upgrade and stuff. And um I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that is fair given the realities of the market, and I think it's better than situations that we had before. Would it be great if we got it all for free? Yes, absolutely. But there is work being put into it, I'm sure. Like, um, I don't know. I'm not that upset about it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of weird because even PlayStation, like when I think about the PS5, even they're like inconsistent. Like Ghost of Tsushima
yeah.
was like I had to get to pay for the upgrade. I think they might have even did the same thing for like Horizon Forbidden West. I don't know if there was like a controversy where they like back down from it. But like certain games, like third parties, like Capcom, like the PS4 version of Street Fighter 6 is compatible with the PS5 and it turns into the PS5 version, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Right.
So I think like free upgrades is cool for cross generational stuff. And yeah, it does seem like they're very like the games that they're. I think Arms is on the list for the free upgrades. So like, there's just random Nintendo games that are just getting free patches, and like
Hmm.
Clubhouse Games is getting patched, but only for game sharing. So I guess I don't really think Clubhouse Games doesn't really need a performance patch, but
Yeah.
but you know you're gonna get a patch so that way you can game share with the Switch 2 and stuff like that, which is great. But true story, by the way, I actually played Clubhouse Games like a week or two ago, and I was going
Oh,
ham
nice.
with my friends that I was with. So yeah, game still holds up, I gotta say. But yeah, all right, next up, Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 has a they really didn't really go much into it because they had already announced or showed a trailer for Metroid Prime 4 a week prior for the previous Switch Direct, but they did you know hammer down to us the viewers that the Switch 2 version runs at 4K 60, which is quality mode, and they have a performance mode which is at 1080p 120 frames a second, which is it's kind of like in my head, it's like, ooh, what do I want? Because I actually played games on 120. I played Halo Infinite at 4K 120, actually, but true story. Uh, and so it's like, ooh, what do I want? What do I want? I'm like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But in my head, I think 60 frames, especially because it's a single player game, you know, it's not online. I think 60 frames is perfect anyways. So 4K 60 is probably what I'm going to play it at. In handheld mode, it is 1080p 60 and 720p 120 in handheld.
Mm.
So, and it does, of course, the game looks awesome as fuck, and like it looks amazing and beautiful. And I will admit, like when I saw the Switch One Direct last week, I was thinking to myself, "Damn, is this game running on the Switch too?" And they're just kind of like Nintendo, sort of like catfishing us. But no, the game looked even better. So that really was the Metroid Prime 4 running on the original Switch. So Dan, anything you wanted to say?
I think that Metroid Prime 4 looks fantastic. I am honestly shocked that this game looks this good running on the Switch 1 and you know, even better and better performant on the Switch 2. I think that when it comes to like deciding between the two modes, that's also something I always struggle with. Um, I like my games to be performant, but a stable 60 frames is more than performant to me. Like that's perfect. Like as long as there's not like major hitches or drops, I feel like I'm also probably gonna play it in 4K 60 like you, like get the best graphical fidelity. And honestly, like, come on, 60 frames per second, like especially if it's stable, like why do you need more than that? I know that when it comes to like competitive, like pro gamers out there like Lewis, like they want to have the best frame rate possible. Like my brother, he plays games very competitively and especially like stuff on PC. Like he wants to have the biggest frame rate he can possibly have, and then he'll get monitors with the biggest refresh rate that he can possibly have. For me, like I can barely even notice a difference after a certain point. So yeah, I would be happy with 4K 60. But just generally, Metroid Prime 4, what I want to say about that is that uh this game had really high expectations to meet. And it may be too early to say, but it seems like it's meeting them.
Yes.
It seems like it's actually blowing the expectations even.
Nice.
And I am shocked. Like I believe just like it's sort of one of because it's sort of one of those situations where these games become these elusive like when
Like
is this ever
Half-Life
going to
3,
come out
like Half-Life
or
3 kind of
Half-Life
thing.
3
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like how could you ever beat Half-Life 2 and like actually like surprise people like after all this time? And this game seems to be doing it. And I would not be surprised if we're looking at like a game of the year contender here
Mm.
with this one. Uh the only thing is the only piece of criticism is I have not been wild about the way Nintendo has narrated the trailers. Uh and I say this because like especially with the trailer that we saw on the NS1 Direct, uh they are doing this thing where they're like almost like overly explaining it like, "Oh, you can scan things and you can open a door," and like stuff like that. And I feel like the way they're explaining it is almost making the game seem less good than it is because I don't know. Like just let us play the game, you know? Like
Okay.
just let us see it, you know, like show don't tell kind of thing. Is sort of what I wish we were getting more of.
So the other thing I was going to say about this game is that this Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, they call these games that are like re-released or remastered. They call them Nintendo Switch 2 edition as the banner. Uh, I don't. I. It's nice that they're consistent for all the games that are getting those optimizations, the re-releases and stuff like that. But I wish that I was on the Game Explain hype train because if it was 4K, which it is, Game Explain wanted Metroid Prime 4 Beyond to be called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond HD because it's
Mm.
beyond HD, it's 4K. So yeah, so that would have been a nice little pun, but I don't get to have that.
Really quick on that, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition thing is so funny to me because it is so long and some of these game titles are already so long and like when they're actually going through and reading the full titles of some of these games,
Mario
it is getting freak
Mario Party,
yeah.
it's called Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV.
Yes. It's just God. Like, couldn't you? I wish they had come up with something else, like an acronym or something, or just like remaster or HD or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
like
that was the only. Oh, the one thing I was gonna say. I guess we'll just again drip feed more controversies. Is that the Nintendo Switch 2 editions? The cartridges are Nintendo Switch 1 cards, and they have a digital download code for the upgrades. So, including
really
Metroid Prime 2 included, by the way. Or Metro Prime 4, excuse me. Yeah.
interesting.
So basically, yeah, you're getting a Switch 1 cartridge with a one-time use digital download code that, you have to redeem and stuff to get that.
I guess I guess that means that they're reusing the cartridges, right? Like they're repackaging cartridges that they already had,
Yeah,
probably. Do I like get rid of inventory kind
I
of
guess.
thing?
So Breath of the
Interesting.
Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that same like the
Yeah.
retail re-releases are just going to be Switch 1 cartridges with the download code. Not good for game preservation, I guess, but
Yeah.
whatever. But
Not a fan of
anyways,
that.
All right, we're getting close to the end of the show here. I got three more topics left. GameCube NSO. I actually want to keep it short. It's gonna be part of the expansion pack. It's gonna release with three games. One of them they showed was like FX or damn it, GX. What's the word? What's the Captain Falcon?
Oh, F Zero,
F
F
Zero,
Zero
yeah,
GX.
F Zero GX, yes, yes. They showed that. They showed other like launch titles, or not launch titles, but post-launch titles. So they showed Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, which is an expensive ass game to own physically.
Yep.
And also Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD. That's also expensive as hell. I'm glad that Nintendo is, releasing those games, and like maybe those physical prices will come down. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe, or maybe they'll go up some more. Who knows? They showed Wind Waker, which is great because now we don't have to buy Wind Waker HD anymore. Hopefully they'll do Twilight Princess in there as well. I'm surprised they didn't show Melee. That's kind of like the GameCube game to GameCube, but once Mario Kart Double Dash goes to the NSO or GameCube NSO expansion pack, then you'll basically have pretty much damn near every Mario Kart to every Mario Kart in that Switch in that Switch ecosystem. Um, but yeah,
You know,
one
they
oh
didn't show Melee, and there's no news on Smash, despite the fact that they're once again having a GameCube controller for the
re-released.
they're
Yeah,
re-releasing the GameCube controller. It feels like there's something here. Like maybe they're hiding something. Maybe they're saving something for a big like a Smash like direct or
yeah.
something like later on.
I, I,
Yeah.
I will say that I'm very happy that Nintendo is re-releasing Sunshine and the NSO because they already made us rebuy it, part of the three-pack 3D All Stars collection. Um, I will say the last thing I will say about this topic is they pretty much sold me on the expansion pack. I'm gonna probably be upgrading the expansion pack pretty soon, maybe before they launch the Switch 2, because in my opinion, I think they're gonna up the price for the expansion pack because of this GameCube
Mm,
stuff. In my personal opinion, that's just me speculating.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna subscribe because now I feel like the expansion pack is now worth, personally for
Hmm.
me. And now it wasn't worth for 64 games or Sega Genesis games or Game Boy Advance games, but you throw in GameCube, okay, well now I'm sold. So yeah,
Yeah. I already have that, so to me it's just like an extra bonus. I think I got it for the Mario Kart DLC, which in hindsight I'm like I'm not sure if that was even worth it because it probably would have been cheaper to just buy the DLC, right? Like
yeah.
then now that I've subscribed to it for more than a year. But yeah, I mean, I like to see them adding value to those subscriptions. I still feel like sometimes I think about the virtual console on the Wii by the end, like when the Wii was done, right? Like the amount of stuff that you had there, and I feel like we're not quite there with the Switch yet. And I just wish we had more. I wish that they were like adding more games more frequently, more consoles, to this stuff.
All right, and the second to last topic here is the third parties. They were all out in full force. I'm not gonna read the whole list. But we have a bullet point list of all the stuff. They showed off like Silk Song, Street Fighter 6, Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, like Borderlands 4. They showed a lot of a lot of stuff. And IO Interactive
Hmm.
like reconfirmed that they're still working on Project 007, which I think we covered during like early on into the Ready Press Play back in like
Yeah, I think it's been a while.
2020 or whatever. So they just reconfirmed that that's happening. Just based off of this third party list that's in front of you, is there anything that you want to talk about?
Uh, Hollow Knight Silk Song is one of those games that has just disappeared for or rather, like it was announced so long ago, and I would have thought it was out already. So
Yeah,
it's just surprised to see that wasn't out yet. Apparently, this was I think it was the first time that it got a release year or
yeah,
something, and
exactly. Yeah.
um, well, happy to see that that's still coming out. And I think Final Fantasy VII Remake being on the Switch is pretty big. It makes me wonder if they're gonna put if they're gonna be able to put the other games off the remake trilogy in the Switch as well, in the Switch too. Um, but yeah, nice to see. It's always nice to see Nintendo get some third party love because we know how they've struggled with that since the Wii.
Okay. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about this either. I don't really, none of these really, like even Hyrule Warriors, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not really much of a FromSoft guy, but the third parties, they made me happy. Just knowing that they're being supported. Like, I already have Street Fighter 6 for the PS5. I'm not gonna double dip for the Switch 2 version. Um, I almost in principle would have wanted to support it, but we're gonna go ahead and just segue to the actual controversies here, like the last topic, which is like the stuff that we found out after the Switch 2 high wore off. Street Fighter 6 was part of this whole thing. Is like there's this concept called game key cards, where basically the cartridge doesn't have any of the game file. It just has basically it tells your Switch to go download the game from the Switch
Mm,
eShop, and it uses the physical game key card as a way of basically like a PS5 disc does now. The PS5 is just
hmm
a key unlocker, like a software check to be like, yeah, you can play it, you can launch it. Basically, like that is all it is. Now we've already pretty much already had that on the Switch One with certain games, but now it's now a classification unto itself. Street Fighter Six, I'm guessing Capcom doesn't want to pay for high storage capacity game cards, so they'll opt to just basically buy a game key card from Nintendo and manufacture like with almost like a couple of megabytes on there, and just there you go. You got a physical retail version. Not a fan of that for preservation purposes. I'm probably gonna try to go out of my way to not support those games, any games that do that. So Street Fighter Six is out of the question. I think Elden Ring is also one of those game key card games. Cyberpunk 2077, surprisingly, just like they did with The Witcher, they sprung for the high capacity cartridges. So like The Witcher is a 32 gigabyte card on the Switch One. The Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a 64 gigabyte cartridge. So if you really want to support, high capacity cartridges, go buy Cyberpunk 2077 physically to tell the market this is what we want. This is what we stand for.
hmm
So yeah, that is a kind of like a what do you call it? A hiccup for like game preservation purposes is that
Yep.
at the very least, okay, this is the only thing I will say. If it's a situation where you can lend the game and it's not tied to one key, like it's one digital code kind of thing, then fine, I guess. Whatever. I like if I lend you Street Fighter 6 on the Switch 2 and it works for both of us, then fine, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm very strongly against this too. I think that if you buy something physical, you should be able to play it. Like in the future, 20 years from now, if servers are shut down and yada yada, and all you have is like this old console that still works and the cartridge, you should be able to play it, right? Just in principle, I believe that too. I just think that that concept is almost becoming kind of outdated as we move into likely an all digital future. And I wonder, give it another gen or two, uh, people may not care anymore because everything might just be digital anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Another little controversy is that, and this was actually said during the actual Switch presentation, is that the Switch Welcome Tour is not a pack-in game. It is a game that you have to buy sold separately. Like, and
It was
people were,
easy to miss though. Like I watched the thing and I did not notice this live. I assumed it to be a pack-in game, and I later like I actually watched the direct like 3 times. And like in my second rewatch was when I noticed it, and or like in my second time watching it, was when I noticed it. I think to me this is the worst controversy. Like for my in my opinion, like that is such bullshit because that game was so obviously in the way that it was made and the way that it was presented
hmm
a pack-in game. This is we are teaching you the console. It was a manual to the console basically.
yeah,
And the fact that that is being sold separately, I think is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
who would actually want to go and buy that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like that honestly is to me is like the most egregious thing.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's pricing, Japan has the price. I think it's gonna be at $10, maybe like roughly.
Hmm
And I'm like, oh, actually no, it's sub $10. I think it was like five something, five, $6. I'm like, no, I don't even know if it's worth even that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I think with like Nintendo with the Wii, having Wii Sports bundled in was like a way of like showing you the console. Nintendo Land for the Wii
Astros
U. Oh yeah, Astro's
there's
Playroom.
Astros Playroom, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like if it's like yes, I don't want to be reductive of the fact that there was work that went into it. Like people worked on that and deserve to get paid and deserve to make money in some way or whatever. But you're Nintendo. if you were not gonna pack that in, why'd you even make it? Like honestly, like it's I feel like that's the kind of thing where like you make that knowing that you are eating the cost. It is part of like the R&D development cost off the console to have something in the console that is a built-in thing that you can play. Because like it is so great to have a console and take it out of the box and have things that you can do with it. And Nintendo was great with this on the Wii generation. They were great with this on the 3DS. Like you had so many like built-in things to the 3DS that you could do. Like why not give us something? You know, they're already charging like the Mario Kart is already being charged separately because it's like part of a bundle, right? Like why not at least throw it in that bundle? Like throw it like
They should have
throw
learned.
the
They should have learned from the 1-2 switch mistake of not bundling it. They should have thought of a packing game.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that sucks. Um, Next thing, people don't like the box art. They think that the little red thing is too ugly. It's too much. It's too much. Too much forehead, basically. That's the way I can explain it. I probably could just put a picture of the box art on the screen for the YouTube watchers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually just went to look it up because I didn't remember what it looked like.
there we go.
Yeah, I don't love it.
There we go. Images, just putting them up on screen here. Oh wait, that's not the. There we go. Yeah. Also, like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has like this paragraph on the bottom. Like it's just, oh my god, it's just so bad. But yeah, it's just a lot going on. Um, People do like the sides. The sides are cool because it's not like they actually like the cover art wraps around instead, whereas like the Switch One, like the it's just a red ribbon with white text. So people like that.
Mm.
Um, let's see what else. As far as other controversies go, let's see. I think there was something else I wanted to hit on. Um,
The
the oh yeah,
backwards
the backwards
compatibility thing.
backwards compatibility. Okay, so Eurogamer, there's an article I put up on screen that talks about like they did an interview with like Nintendo, and they were talking about how the Nintendo Switch 2 actually does not fully do hardware backwards compatibility. It is a mixture. They It has software emulation going on. Apparently, the Switch 2 architecture is not the same, and they went completely different. And so, as a result, I have the list up here on screen for the podcast watchers. Nintendo has published a full list in alphabetical order of games that will not start. They will not launch on the Switch 2, and they all have the same notes that says this issue is being investigated. This issue is being investigated. Um, and what's kind of funny, there's only one on this entire list that doesn't have a this issue is being investigated on it. It's actually Fortnite. It says a Nintendo Switch 2 version is planned. That's what and it's going to be their day one on launch. By the way, they said that on the direct. But having seen this list that I see here, uh, I can't really see any first party Nintendo games that are not launching. Oh wait, I see a Nintendo game. Fitness Boxing does not launch on the Switch too. Interesting. But otherwise,
There's
yeah.
some big games here though. There's like Wolfenstein and Doom, Warframe,
Mhm.
Jackbox Party Pack 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Um some Star Wars games. Yeah, there's like
Oh,
it's
South
not
Park, The
just
Fractured Butthole. Damn, that sucks. Yeah.
I think this is pretty big actually. I wasn't
Rocket
aware of
League?
this.
Rocket League won't start? Okay, well, okay. But yeah, so yeah, there's
I
just
wonder if
they
there's something with Unreal Engine. Because Rocket League is Unreal Engine, Fortnite is Unreal Engine.
mm, that makes sense.
Like I don't know about most of these other games, but I would not be surprised if there's something there,
Well,
like some
Nintendo has
incompatibility there.
Nintendo has said like they are trying to get most of these games taken care of before the Switch 2 actually launches. They're just saying that this is the list as of right now. Hopefully, the list is much shorter. But yeah, um, that sucks. I was not expecting Nintendo to software emulate the Switch One. I just didn't see that coming. I wonder like what specifically they needed to design the Switch Two for to not have that baked in. Um, I just don't. I mean, I'm not a hardware engineer or an architect, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I just in my head, like because of the form factor, I'm assuming it's the same NVIDIA chip or not. Sorry, same NVIDIA partner. I figured they would just shake hands. Um, but yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I agree that it's odd. And when they said like before initially that not all games were going to be backwards compatible, I was kind of expecting like really specific random stuff, like things that required peripherals or stuff like
Like
that.
the Toy Con.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's weird to see that it's actually like a lot of big third party games. So I do hope they figure this out. They're probably working with the third parties to figure it out.
yeah,
Um, and I think they probably will. It might not be like a serious issue. It might just be like small adjustments that need to be made in these games, and maybe they'll work together with the developers and get it mostly sorted before the release. Something that we didn't talk about that I just want to hit on real quick.
hmm.
How do you feel about the release date, June 5th?
It seems very
Uh,
weird to be releasing during E3 season. I will say that. I don't think of hardware launches in the summer. Like, I mean, I think they did that with like the first ever E3, whenever like the Sega, was it the Sega Saturn, or I think they just like, and it's out right now, like that kind of stuff, and then like threw
mm-hmm.
all their retailers up, like got them pissed off. But otherwise, yeah, no, I don't know. I just, it seems very a weird time to be releasing. And also, not to mention, like maybe even the release date may even be pushed back because of the tariff situation. Like we were alluded
Yeah.
to it before, but like the console was going to go up for pre-orders on Wednesday, which was what May April 9th. Not anymore. Apparently, with the whole tariff situation, and they might have to. There's a possibility that they might have to readjust their pricing and you know charge more. Um, you know, PS5 Pro territory. Who knows? Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we pretty much covered every controversy that I have throughout the rest of the show, so I don't really have much more in the terms of controversies. I will say I do have a list of controversies here in the doc for you. And when we talked about the Switch 2 today here on this podcast, and having the list in front of you, does this sour you on the Switch 2 in any way?
Honestly, it does not. Like, I feel like the cost for things adds up, but I think that just means that I would be probably more mindful with like what I'm getting, what I'm not getting. Like, yeah, like that welcome tour thing. I'm probably just not gonna get because I'm like, fuck that, right? Like, even though I would have loved to play it otherwise, I just think that's a shitty thing to do. But yeah, I'll probably get the Switch with Mario Kart, and then like I want to play Donkey Kong, but maybe not right away. Maybe I'll wait it out. Maybe buy it during Black Friday or something. Um, but no, I mean, ultimately, like I'm still very excited for the console. Like I said, like we only get a new one of these every like 7 or 8 years, and so I'm very much looking forward to enjoying the moment, enjoying the launch window, and the like being excited for what's coming next and stuff like that.
Yeah, same. I remember when the Switch One launched, I spent way more than $300. I could tell you that. I bought a shit ton of like peripherals and accessories. Day one, I bought like Breath of the Wild. I brought Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. Like I bought it twice on that day. I bought SD cards. I bought a Pro controller. I bought Joy Cons. I bought an extra dock. Like I went ham, and I just spent like $700 or something like that, like in one go. In my head, I was mentally budgeting something along those lines, anyways. I may even take my time buying some accessories. Like I may not even buy the Pro controller day one. I might just let a couple of paychecks come in and then I'll buy it, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I can always just sort of spread it out, especially since my current Nintendo Switch Pro controllers will work just fine. So yeah, and also as far as the C button goes, I don't really think it's really that necessary because they have the C button like baked into the main menu. They showed screenshots of the main menu, so you can actually just navigate to it, with the
Hmm.
you know home menu. So yeah. Otherwise, yeah, everything else just sort of, or just kind of sort of breaks down to price and just uh, preservation. So just the way things are moving, we really can't just fight it. Is how I sort of see it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just going with the flow. I I expect us to do another episode of Ready Press Play in middle of June during E3 season, and we can give our first impressions of the Switch 2. But
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I got for you. Is there any other closing words or anything you want to say?
It's great to be back.
It's great to be back. Okay. Yeah, no outro. Just gonna end the show abruptly because we're tired. We're recording very, very late at night, and yeah, I thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us ramble about the Switch 2. I knew this show was gonna be 2 hours, and we're pretty much right at the money. Uh, I will say we'll see you guys next time. Come follow us on Twitch, watch us, hang out with us. We'll be here sometime again in 2025, a couple more times. I was your host. I am your host, Chakalaka88, and Dan.
Power up, Dan.
For now. All right. See you guys. Bye.
See ya.